Hi, my name is Neil. I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, and a landlord. So with the fires in LA finally reaching a tipping point of containment, I want to take some time out and take a look at what could have been done better to prevent these fires from expanding and devastating so many. Also, I wanted to take a look at the effects they will have on businesses and real estate in the area. So, in November 2007, Congress had a special hearing regarding wildfires. And here's what they had to say.
There is no doubt that a century of stifling the natural fire regime of western forests and the increasing numbers of people living in fire-prone areas has made the impact of wildfires worse. The questions before us today are how will wildfires change in a warming world?
So at that time, Congress was looking into ways to reduce the impact of global warming on wildfires. So you would assume that they would pass legislation to do so. That's where you'd be wrong. And it's not because people haven't tried. So let me tell you a story about Senator Henry Stern. In 2018, his home in Los Angeles burnt down during the Wildfires. So come 2021, he attempts to pass a bill that would limit the development of housing within areas designated as very high risk of wildfires. Scenes like this, it would be a no-brainer to pass a bill that would limit housing construction in areas designated as high risk. But you'd be wrong. Real estate interest groups lobbied hard against this bill, and eventually it died in committee a year later. And the worst part of all this is till this day, realtors don't have to warn you if you buy a home in an area designated as very high risk of wildfires. So the next bill actually passed, and it said that you couldn't have ignitable material within 5 feet surrounding your home. It was supposed to go into effect January 1st, 2023. Unfortunately, they passed the bill, but there were no regulations put in to enforce the bill. So the State Board of Forestry and Fire Protection for California never ended up writing them. And to this day, they have no timeline when they're going to write them. So it seems even if you pass a bill, doesn't necessarily mean you can implement it. Now, if I was to get a speeding ticket, I would pay a fine. And that seems to work. Just throwing out some ideas. Now, this bill also talks about creating a 5-foot defensible zone around homes to prevent fires from expanding. Now, aren't we told that fire embers can travel up to 2 miles? Here's a firefighter telling us that those embers can travel even further.
That's the big piece, is the winds, and they can blow embers, 2 miles away.
Wow.
I went on the Cedar Fire down in San Diego, and I mean, we were seeing spots 5-6 miles away.
So now that we've talked about what can be done to prevent wildfires from spreading, let's talk about how these fires are affecting businesses. Santa Monica Seafood, the largest wholesaler of seafood in the area, has noted over 100 closures since the beginning of the fires. And that's 100 businesses that may never come back. They've also noted that it's nearly impossible to get deliveries out to retailers, with traffic closures and evacuations still ongoing.
Significant safety and infrastructure issues remain, including downed power lines, broken gas lines, hazardous materials, and unsafe water.
Now, let's talk about the state of the real estate market. And this is where it gets ridiculous. Last year, State Farm canceled 72,000 policies in California, with letters going out as late as November 2024. 6 weeks later, the fires hit, and many people were just not prepared. Here's a lady trying to save her parents' home with a garden hose.
You decided not to leave.
I know I'm not supposed to be here, but this is my parents' home.
I know the feeling.
And they just they got canceled from their fire insurance. So they're dealing with this. They're 90 years old. It's fine.
It is unbelievable what's happening here to the neighbors. Your parents' house is still standing. You had a hose. You're doing what you can.
I mean, I have a hose.
So after the fires erupted, the California Insurance Commissioner put a 1-year hold on companies from canceling policies and issuing non-renewal notices. So the companies put on their PR hats and started offering renewals for people that they canceled previously. You can't make this up. Since so many insurance companies refused to insure people in California, the state itself had to create its own insurance company, the California Fair Plan, who insures 8.7 million residents within California. The California Fair Plan currently has $200 million on hand and is insured for another $2.5 billion. But that $2.5 billion comes with a $900 million deductible. They have $200 million out of their $900 million deductible, and that would only cover $2.5 billion in damage. It's estimated that the Palisades fire is going to cost them $6 billion. If my math is correct, they're going to fall short. And there's a high likelihood that this company will go bankrupt, affecting all 8.7 million policyholders. So now let's talk about rental rates. As the number of homes in the area is going down, the need for homes is going up. And unfortunately, this is going to drive rental rates higher. But with so many being displaced, there's some actors out there that would price gouge customers. Now, before we dig deeper into the idea of price gouging, I do want to mention that I don't agree with the practice of price gouging, but I do understand that there are people that will take that risk to make a buck. Here's a listing that went on the market in September for $15,900 a month. And then it came back on the market for $29,500 on January 11th when the fire started. A nearly 85% increase from where it had started. Here's what the California State Attorney General had to say about price gouging.
Folks across the region are being preyed upon by greedy businesses and landlords, scam artists, and predatory buyers looking to make a quick buck off their pain. They are seeking to re-victimize the victims of the fires, to exploit them in their vulnerable state. They are looking, these predators are looking at the disaster with dollar signs in their eyes instead of kindness in their hearts. And that is unconscionable. It is despicable. It is disgusting. It is sick. And it's unacceptable. And most importantly, it is illegal. That conduct, that predatory conduct, is unlawful. So let me be crystal clear. I take these crimes exceedingly seriously, and we will hold you to account.
So let's take a look at that house that we saw earlier. The initial rental rate was $15,900, so they would have taken home about $190,000. Now, once they increase their rental rates, they will take home $354,000, which is a $168,000 increase. Now, let's take a look at what the consequences would be. So, if we were to look on the California Attorney General's website, we can see there's a page dedicated to price gouging. And as we scroll down, we can see there's a section dedicated to the consequences of violating the statute. It states violating the price gouging statute is subject to criminal prosecution that can result in 1 year of imprisonment in county jail and or a fine of up to $10,000. Violations are also subject to civil enforcement actions, including civil penalties of up to $2,500 per violation, injunctive relief, and mandatory restitution. So the financial cost seems to be $12,500 plus restitution, which doesn't seem to be deterring landlords and real estate agents from driving prices astronomically higher. With that being said, I hope you guys did like the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.